Hey, Beerfield Fantasy family. It's week 6. It's Saturday. It means it's time for In and Out. This is content that we drop every single week, just going through every game, letting you know what players are in the injury report, what players we're worried about possibly missing on Sunday, players that might be limited. So just keep an eye on this every single week. Like and subscribe to the YouTube channel if you want this type of content. We're dropping content every single day, 7 days a week during the NFL season. And then tomorrow morning, Christopher Hopper at Hop BFF and myself at Nick Sparts will be dropping content for you guys in a live episode, answering your start-sit questions, going over inactives and players who we find out are not going for the noon games, and just giving you any updates we might have had overnight. The show can be followed on Twitter at BeerfieldFF if you want to tweet any start-sit questions for us to read off tomorrow morning. And then, as always, you have Dan Thury as the third member of the team. He is at ThuryBFF if you want to give him a follow as well. He can answer any start-sit questions you have if you want to bother him individually. Moving on into all the news here and starts or in and out questions. We only have one piece of news, and there is a rumor floating around now that the 49ers are shopping Carlos Hyde. So there's a few reasons this might be true and a few reasons that it might not be true. I don't personally think they are, just because Matt Breida is the only other running back they really have on the roster who's worth anything. And he's a smaller back. He's a little under 200 pounds, not quite built as a three-down back that you want to roll out there and give him 20 to 25 touches a game. So there's a little bit of concern there. On the reasons for possibly shipping him out is Kyle Shanahan has no personal attachment to Carlos Hyde. He's a player who's had a tough time staying healthy through his career. He's gotten shut down and put on IR twice now over his career and has missed many other games in every other season. And he's on the last year of his contract, so he'd be a rental at this point. So if the 49ers have no plans of bringing him back, they may try to ship him off for a 6th or 7th pick, save themselves a little bit of cap space they can roll over to next season and get an extra pick as more ammunition to roll into this roster, and just take it from there. So we'll see what happens here. I'm personally not expecting them to ship him off at this point, but it's definitely something to know, and I do think it makes Breida even more of a mustache than he already was in most leagues. On to your in and outs here for the injury reports. We're going to start with the noon games. We've got Browns at Texans for our first game to cover here. Browns only have one fantasy-relevant player to talk about, and that's Kenny Britt. He's questionable with a groin injury, also having some knee issues as well. He was limited all week. I'm guessing he probably does not go. Usually you want to see guys get at least a full participation on Friday before you're real confident about them. I'm guessing they probably shut him down, and they'll run with Ricardo Lewis and Rashard Higgins as their two top receivers on that team. For the Texans, they are once again missing cornerback Kevin Johnson with his knee injury. It's rumored that he'll probably be back week 8, but we haven't gotten confirmation that the coaches are 100% expecting that. But just something to keep an eye on. This pass defense is pretty subpar without that. In addition, they're also missing a linebacker, Bernardrick McKinney. He's questionable with a hip injury, only got limited work in all week. I expect he probably doesn't go as well. So this is still a plus matchup for the Texans, but lower your expectations. Between losing Watt, Whitney Mercilus, having Kevin Johnson out, and now McKinney probably missing as well. That's 4 pieces off of their defense that are gone. This is not nearly as good a matchup as you were really hoping for. For the Patriots and Jets, Patriots are only missing one fantasy-relevant player, and that's running back Rex Burkhead. He's going to be out again with his rehab injury. He's been out a very, very long time. Wouldn't even be surprised if maybe they consider shutting him down in some sense and just saying he's limited until they need him, or just out until they need him if something either happens to White, Gillislee, or Lewis. But until one of those 3 guys gets injured, they really don't need Burkhead to run this offense. As for the Jets, surprisingly, Bilal Powell is questionable with his calf, and it's going to be a game-time decision, and signs are pointing to him actually playing this week. And as a reminder, Matt Forte is going as well. So what looked like could possibly be an okay matchup for Elijah McGuire has dropped like a rock here, with Powell possibly going and Forte going for sure. It means McGuire probably doesn't get the touches needed to roll him out there confidently, and I will be adjusting my rankings and tweeting those out, reflecting that change. Dolphins and Falcons have a few players of note. Dolphins wide receiver Devontae Parker is doubtful with his ankle injury. He sprained it last Sunday, was out the rest of the game there. I would be amazed if he goes. He got no practice in this week, and they likely shut him down and try to get him back in week 7. And that cornerback, Byron Maxwell, is listed as questionable with a foot injury, but he did not practice Thursday or Friday, so it's likely he's closer to doubtful. This is a big bump to Julio Jones and Taylor Gabriel in the entire passing game. If Byron Maxwell doesn't go, he is the best cornerback on the Dolphins at this point. For the Falcons, kicker Matt Bryant was questionable, which is a bit of a surprise to see a kicker on an injury report. They did not activate their kicker on their practice squad, though, so Bryant is the only kicker on their roster, so it looks like they're expecting him to be fine. As for wide receiver, Mohamed Sanu, he is out with his hamstring injury. He's likely missing a few more weeks beyond this, so expect we'll be repeating this probably out through week 8 or 9. On to Lions and the Saints. Matthew Stafford was questionable all week with a quad, but he got a full practice in on Friday, so he should be locked and loaded, ready to go. Get him in your lineups in a high-powered matchup here. On the offensive line, offensive tackles Rick Wagner and TJ Lang are both questionable. They got limited sessions in Thursday and Friday. They were the exact same status last week, so I do expect they play through those injuries. And then Kenny Golladay is once again questionable with his hamstring, limited all week as well. They probably lean towards not playing him and give him one more week of rest to make sure he doesn't risk a re-aggravation of the hamstring. For the Saints, they have Teron Armstead coming off his shoulder injury, and Ardrius Pete is also questionable. They both got limited sessions in. I don't think either one will go. They'll probably go with their offensive line as is, with the rookie Ryan Rzemczak starting at left tackle. Wide receiver Willie Snead is questionable with a hamstring, was limited all week, but rumors are that he will make his first start, and it should be a pretty high-powered matchup. He should get fed. I do like him this week as a solid start. Packers-Vikings have a couple injuries to note here. Running back Ty Montgomery is questionable with a rib injury. He did get full practices in Thursday and Friday wearing a flak jacket, so I do think he'll be a game-time decision, but he should be playing in a limited role. Aaron Jones is the better start of the two. And then offensive tackles David Bakhtiari and OT Brian Beluga are both limited all week. Both are probably going to play based on what I'm seeing on practice reports and rumors. For the Vikings, they're missing 3 people. Bradford, Diggs, and guard Nick Easton are all out this week. It is going to be a ding to the whole offense. They're not as powerful without a healthy Bradford, without a healthy Diggs. And Nick Easton is actually a very, very solid guard. So this is going to hurt the entire offensive line. Lower your expectations for McKinnon. I think the only people who possibly benefit is going to be Rudolph and Thielen, just because this is not the best pass secondary, and those two guys should see a slight uptick in targets, probably an extra 2 or 3 each. On to the Bears and Ravens. Bears actually have nobody fantasy significant that's hurt. Their offensive line is in shape. All the skill players are going. No defenders missing that were major names that teams have to scheme around. Only problem I've noticed at all is they're possibly going to be missing a couple inside linebackers, but that's kind of a weakness of the center of the defense anyway. Ravens have so many offensive line issues, I don't know if that matters that much. For the Ravens, running back Terrence West is out with a calf injury, expected to miss a few more weeks beyond this. Defensive tackle Brandon Williams and linebacker Tim Williams are both doubtful, which does hurt the Ravens' run defense pretty significantly. Brandon Williams is one of the best run defenders in the NFL, so Cohen and Howard would both get a bump for that. Jeremy Maclin is questionable with a hand injury. Played through it last week. Expect him to go this week as well. And cornerback Jimmy Smith is questionable with an Achilles injury. Did not get full practices in all week. He's likely not to go. So that is a bump to the Bears' depleted passing game. 49ers at the Redskins. 49ers have no specific skill player injuries, but the entire defense is just decimated. Reuben Foster, Dakota Watson, Akilo Witherspoon, Eric Reed, and Adrian Colbert are all questionable. All of them were limited all week in practice. I expect the majority of them to miss, probably only 1 or 2 suit up. This is a bump to all the Redskins passing game. For the Redskins, they are missing cornerback Josh Norman. May miss him next week as well, but it's looking like he is targeting a Week 7 return. This is a big bump to Garcon and Goodwin because now they only have one really good Rashad Breeland. They probably put Goodwin on Breeland and let Garcon run against their other corner because both Redskins corners tend to pick particular sides and do not shadow. So they can scheme their offense to let Goodwin try to run deep routes against Breeland all game, and Garcon can work against a weaker corner. Rob Kelly is doubtful with a rib injury. They've already confirmed, though, if he plays, he will not get the majority of work. It will go to Samaje Perine with Chris Thompson taking secondary work, and Kelly would probably just get a couple carries, get him out of your lineups, do not even think about starting him even if he is active. Offensive tackle Trent Williams is questionable, did not practice all week, which means TJ Clemmings looks to be suiting up. This is going to be a slight ding to Cousins, so hopefully you have more injuries on the 49ers defense than not if you're starting any of the passing game, because Clemmings is a terrible, terrible tackle. On to Rams and Jaguars. You've got cornerback Troy Hill is doubtful. Linebacker Mark Barron and safety LaMarcus Joyner are questionable as well. All 3 likely are not going to go because they did not practice this week. So you're looking like a ding to the Rams secondary. Going to be a little bit of a bump to Fournette and a little bit of a bump to the passing game, though. I don't still have very high expectations because Bortles just doesn't throw it enough in this remolded Jacksonville offense. For the Jaguars, center Brandon Lindner is out, which does slightly hurt Fournette. Lindner is a very, very good center. I'm not that familiar with his replacement, so I don't know how much of a ding this will be. So it's going to be very, very good front four against a offensive line missing one of their best players. So do slightly lower your expectations for Fournette. Probably doesn't do quite as good as he would have if Lindner was in there. Buccaneers and Cardinals. Buccaneers defense is still just depleted. Quan Alexander's out. Defensive end Robert Ayers, linebacker Levante David, safety TJ Ward are all questionable. Ayers should go. Ward and David probably won't, so they're missing 3 pieces on defense. Get your Cardinals in there and start them with and expect them to have good days. And then center Ali Marpet is questionable with an illness, but he did get a full practice in on Friday, so he should be fine. For the Cardinals, they have defensive lineman Robert Ngichi, defensive lineman Corey Peters, linebacker Carlos Dansby, cornerback Patrick Peterson are all questionable. They're all limited all week. None of them got a full practice in, so all of them could potentially miss. Peterson and Dansby look to be the most likely ones to play. Kimdichie and Peters look like the ones who will probably miss. So that is a bump to the Buccaneers offense as well, with those type of players missing. Steelers and Chiefs don't even have to talk about. No fantasy significant players missing for either team that are on the injury report. Kelsey came back healthy, and the Steelers got their offensive tackle back this week. So that should help, and there's no significant injuries on the defense or offensive line for major piece players. Chargers and Raiders, you got running back Brandon Oliver is questionable for the Chargers, but it looks like he will play. He got a full practice on Friday. And Mike Williams is questionable, but they've said that he should get some limited work in this week and make his first appearance on the San Diego Chargers. It'll be good to finally see the number 7 overall pick get some play time. For the Raiders, running back DeAndre Washington is questionable with his quad injury. He was limited all week, and it looks like they're probably going to give him one more week of healing, so it's going to be the Marshawn Lynch and Jalen Richard show against a defense you can run against. They're one of the worst defenses in the NFL at giving up rushing yards. In addition, quarterback Derek Carr is off the injury report. He's good to go in week 6. Start him with confidence. Chargers defense can be beat through the air as well. For the Giants and Broncos, Giants are beat up right now. Paul Perkins and Sterling Shepard are both out on the offensive side of the ball. Perkins with ribs, Sterling Shepard with his ankle. So this entire offense is going to be depleted. It's going to be down to the Roger Lewis, Trent Murphy show with Eli Manning throwing to nobody. Wayne Gallman and Shane Vereen and Orleans Darkwa will be the running game. It's going to be ugly against a really good Broncos defense. On the defensive side of the ball, they're not in much better shape either. Defensive end Oliver Verter is out with an ankle injury. Cornerback Dominique Rodgers-Cromartie is indefinitely suspended for performance issues and arguing with coaches, which you don't really want to do. And then safety Landon Collins is questionable. Didn't practice all week, so I don't expect him to go either. For the Broncos, they're coming off a bye. They're healthy. They're ready to go. So this should be a bit of an ass whooping on Sunday night. Lastly, Monday night, Colts-Titans. Quarterback Andrew Luck is on the injury report as questionable, but it's already been confirmed he's not going to play. I don't know why they have the questionable tag on him. For the Titans, quarterback Marcus Mariota is questionable with a hamstring. All reports point to him playing. Have a backup plan. If you do have Mariota and you're planning on starting him, I would try to make sure you have Jacoby Brissett rostered. For the wide receiver position, Corey Davis is out again with a hamstring injury. They are currently targeting a Week 7 return for him, and it's expected he will go. He got limited practice in all week. Expect to see a full practice session by next Friday. That's all we got for this week. Check us out tomorrow morning. We will let you know which players are inactive for the noon game, so you can be ready for that. And if you get any word about through any of our sources, whether it be RotoWorld, SleeperBot, letting you know that there's another player who's expected to not go in a later game, afternoon, Monday night, Sunday night games, we will be sure to let you know about that as well. So thank you so much for tuning in. Please like and subscribe to the channel. Check us out tomorrow morning and tweet at us your start-sit questions. Reminder, @BeerfieldFF is the Twitter page. Thank you so much for checking in. I'm Nick Spartz, and we'll catch you guys next time.